Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to peel back the layers of history and culture.
hmm
Get beneath the surface to truly grasp what makes a place tick.
Exactly. Not just the tourist view, but the real story underneath.
And today, wow, we're embarking on quite a journey. We're calling it the cultural crossroads of Pakistan.
That's a perfect description. We're talking about a heritage that spans, well, millennia. It goes back so much further than people often realize. It's this incredible land where countless civilizations have met and, merged.
And left their mark.
Absolutely lasting impacts.
Now, our sources for this deep dive are pretty interesting. We're leaning heavily on an official publication from the government of Pakistan's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Something designed to celebrate and promote the country's incredibly rich past.
Right. And we're also bringing in some perspectives from Context Travel. They're a company that really emphasizes that deep, expert-guided kind of exploration.
So the idea isn't just a sort of surface-level overview.
No, not at all. Think of it more like an intimate, expert-led journey. Our mission here is really to give you, the listener, a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about Pakistan's, frankly, unbelievable history.
Highlighting those surprising bits, the major turning points.
Exactly, like a good guide would do, tailoring it for someone who's really curious and wants to connect with the place.
Okay then, let's unpack this. Where do we even begin?
Right at the very, very beginning. I mean, Pakistan's history stretches back an astounding 2 million years.
2 million.
Yeah, to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
You've got early stone tools from the lower Paleolithic found in the Pathahar region. That's basically northern Punjab today.
That is just incredible. So from the absolute earliest tools,
Right.
you're seeing the very beginnings of human ingenuity taking root right there, a foundational layer.
Absolutely.
How did the sources help us sort of differentiate those early stages? Paleolithic, Mesolithic.
Well, they draw a clear line. You have the Paleolithic and Mesolithic, that's, hunting and gathering, the basics of survival. And then the big shift, the Neolithic period.
Okay, and the Neolithic sounds like where things really kick into high gear.
Yeah.
What's so pivotal about that?
It's a massive change. It's the start of food production, cultivating plants, domesticating animals. This becomes central. And the sites, they're concentrated mostly in the upper Indus Valley. But the truly world-class site, I mean globally significant, is Mehrgarh. It's deep in the Kachi plain of Balochistan, a really fertile area that became, well, a cradle of early civilization.
Mehrgarh. Okay, that sounds crucial. How do archaeologists figure out things like organized living, division of labor, from stuff that's so incredibly old? We're talking 7th millennium BC, right?
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? You look
Yeah.
at the layout of the buildings, the kinds of tools they used, even their burial practices. Mehrgarh shows evidence of systematic agriculture, pretty advanced architecture for the time, and get this, even early dentistry.
Dentistry.
Back then.
Yeah. It's one of the very few places globally that shows such ancient cultural complexity. A highly organized society, much earlier than we used to think.
Wow. And from there, we move into the Chalcolithic era. That's around the 4th millennium BC. And that marks that crucial shift from stone tools to using copper and bronze, a definite step up in technology.
So Mehrgarh and these early developments, they really set the stage. And what comes next is, well, one of the world's great ancient urban societies, the Indus civilization, the Bronze Age powerhouse.
Precisely. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, those are the famous capital cities, you could say. But there were countless other towns, villages spread all across the plains of Punjab and Sindh.
And it lasted for a long time.
Oh yeah, over 1,000 years. Roughly, say, 2,700 down to about 1,800 BC. One of the longest lasting ancient civs.
And their building style was pretty sophisticated for that time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Multi-story brick houses, fortified cities like Mohenjo-daro, the famous Great Bath. What does that level of planning tell us?
It points to extraordinary town planning, really sophisticated community organization, especially when you think it was based on farming, but with this urban political structure on top.
Yeah.
The precision of their brickwork, the drainage systems they built, the craftsmanship you see in everyday objects, it all speaks to a really resourceful, well-managed society.
It's an incredible legacy, but like all great civilizations, it didn't last forever. Around 1800 BC, it starts to fade, and there's a sort of mysterious gap before the next big chapter. What fills that void?
Well, what fills it is another wave of change. We enter the Iron Age. Around 1500 BCE, give or take, you see a new pastoral culture arriving, likely brought by invading Aryan groups. They bring a different lifestyle and, critically, a new technology, iron.
Okay, so a new chapter, new influences, new materials. You mentioned key sites like Perak and Balochistan, known for its pottery.
That's right, distinctive polychrome and bichrome pottery. But Pyrrhoc's also important because it gives us the earliest evidence, the first appearance of horse and camel figurines in the subcontinent.
Ah, so new animals, maybe new transport, new ways of life.
Potentially, yes. And at the same time, over in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Swat, Dir, Peshawar valleys, you get this fascinating Gandhara grave culture.
Burial practices are always so revealing, aren't they? What do these Gandhara graves tell us?
They show change over time. The culture is defined by these evolving burial practices across three main periods. Started with inflexed burials, then moved to cremation with ashes in urns, and later partial or fractional burials. It suggests a real diversity of customs and beliefs.
Interesting.
And these sites also show improving metal tech. They use stone masonry but without mortar, and you find objects made of gold, copper, and significantly iron. Metallurgy was becoming dominant.
Okay, moving forward in time, we hit a point where outside forces really start to reshape things dramatically.
Yeah.
Alexander the Great enters the picture.
Yes. His Macedonian invasion in 326 BCE, it's often seen as this huge catalyst for cultural fusion, especially in the northwestern parts of the subcontinent. East meets west, in a way.
How so? What made his invasion such a catalyst beyond just the military aspect?
Well, Alexander's campaigns, they weren't just about conquest. They opened up new trade routes, new lines of communication, cultural exchange, and you combine that with the push given to Buddhism by the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka. He really championed its spread, plus artistic ideas coming from the Bactrian Greeks, those Hellenistic rulers in Central Asia.
And all that leads to?
It leads to the incredible Gandhara art, flourishing under the Kushan Empire, mainly from the 1st to the 4th century CE.
Gandhara art is so distinctive. What's most compelling about that fusion? You've got Buddhist themes, but with Greek and Roman artistic styles.
It's striking, isn't it? It's really the first time we see the Buddha depicted in human form. And often he has classical features, drapery that looks very Greco-Roman. There was huge demand from Buddhist devotees, so they produced vast amounts of this sculpture, mostly in gray schist stone and stucco. It filled the monasteries, the stupas, all across the Gandhara region, places like Taxila, Peshawar, Mardin, Swat.
And the architecture reflected this blend too, I imagine.
Absolutely. It mixed foreign styles like Greek Ionic and Doric columns with local building traditions. You see it clearly in sites like Sirkap and Taxila, which was meticulously planned, and in the ruins of these sprawling religious centers, the stupas and monasteries.
A really vibrant period. But it didn't last forever.
No, sadly. This Buddhist culture eventually declined. It faced pressure from Sasanian invasions, that's a powerful Persian empire, and then the really destructive arrival of the White Huns around 465 CE. They were nomadic groups from Central Asia, and their movements just reshaped the whole power dynamic across the continent.
History keeps turning those pages. After that decline, what comes next?
We see a period of Brahmanism revival, roughly 6th to 9th century CE. The region kind of fractures into smaller Hindu principalities, and significantly you see a lot of Hindu temple construction during this time, reflecting those local traditions.
And then a moment that fundamentally changes everything for the subcontinent.
Yes, the advent of Islam. It happens relatively quickly after Islam gets established in Arabia. In 711 CE, a Muslim army, led by the young general Muhammad ibn al-Qasim, captures the port city of Dabal. He defeats the local ruler, Raja Dahir.
So that victory during the Umayyad Caliphate establishes Arab rule, and that brings more than just new rulers, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a profound shift. You get Arab culture, the Arabic language becomes important for administration and learning, Arabic literature, and of course the building of mosques. It transforms the region far beyond just its governance.
How did that integrate?
Well, Islamic legal systems, social structures, they start to integrate alongside existing traditions. Now, that initial Arab rule faced its own challenges over time, and what follows is the rise of later Muslim dynasties, many with strong Central Asian roots.
Like Mahmud of Ghazni.
Exactly. Famous for his 17 invasions between 999 and 1030 AD. He extended his empire all the way to Lahore, and he introduced this very characteristic Central Asian style of naked brick architecture.
Naked brick architecture. That sounds very descriptive. What does it look like?
It means the beauty is in the brickwork itself. Intricate patterns, textures, often without plaster covering it up. It's a style very typical of Central Asian traditions. Think of the amazing mausoleum of Rukh-e-Alam in Multan. The brick is the art.
Wow.
And after Mahmud, you have Shahabuddin Ghori. He establishes permanent Muslim rule in India around 1193. sets up the capital in Delhi, and that kicks off the Delhi Sultanate period.
Right, with all those different dynasties, Mamluks, Khaljis, Tughlaqs, and so on, still carrying those Central Asian influences.
Deeply imbued with them, yes. This period really reshaped the subcontinent, leaving a distinct architectural and cultural legacy. But interestingly, at the same time, down in Sindh, local dynasties were also doing their own thing.
The Sumas.
Yes, and the Tarkans, Arguns, Talpurs later on. They maintained a pretty unique regional identity. They patronized local arts, built their own impressive palaces. It shows that even with large empires around, local power and culture could still thrive.
Okay, and then we arrive at the big one, the Mughal Empire, 1526 to 1857. We're talking Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shahan, Aurangzeb. Household names, really.
The Mughals, they truly refined the whole sociocultural fabric of the subcontinent. They masterfully blended Iranian and local traditions. And they were just massive patrons of the arts, painting, calligraphy, coinage design, even armory. It was an explosion of creativity.
And the architecture, it's just sumptuous. Lahore and Thought are practically defined by it.
Absolutely. The palaces inside Lahore Fort, the incredible Shalimar Gardens, the Badshahi Mosque, which is just breathtaking.
The mausoleums, too, Jahangir's tomb, Nur Jahan's, Asif Jah's.
And don't forget Rani Kut Fort down in Sindh. It's thought to be the largest fort in the world, just shows the scale of Mughal ambition and engineering.
But even the mighty Mughals eventually declined, and as they weakened, other powers rose, particularly the Sikh kingdom in Punjab under Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
That's right. The Sikhs made their own distinct mark. Culturally, they often repurposed older Mughal buildings, which created some really unique stylistic blends, especially in their painting traditions.
You see that in their specific monuments.
Yes, gurdwaras, their temples, are very distinctive. Also samadhis, which are funerary monuments, and havalis, traditional mansions, often decorated with beautiful fresco paintings reflecting Sikh themes and history.
And following that period, we enter another transformative era, the British legacy. From 1858, after the mutiny, right up to 1947.
Yes, the transfer of power directly to the British Crown. This brought huge changes everywhere: governance, the education system, the English language becoming dominant, and, of course, architecture.
They built a lot of infrastructure, too, didn't they? Things that are still vital today.
Definitely. The railway network was massive, with incredible engineering feats like the Pir Punja and Kojak tunnels, and the huge canal irrigation system in Punjab that completely changed the agricultural landscape and is still fundamental.
And you can still see the physical imprint everywhere. Those grand 19th century buildings, Lahore Railway Station, colleges like Islamia College in Peshawar, or Government College University in Lahore.
Cathedrals like Sacred Heart in Lahore, palaces like Nur Mahal in Bahawalpur, those iconic clock towers like Meriwether in Karachi.
They really are tangible links to that colonial period.
They absolutely are. They tell a story of immense change, colonial administration, and influences that deeply shape the region's path towards modernity.
Which brings us finally to the emergence of modern Pakistan itself. August 14th, 1947, independence as a sovereign Islamic state.
And Pakistan, despite starting with limited resources, has really made an effort to protect its incredible cultural heritage, both the Islamic sites and the pre-Islamic ones. It's seen as hugely important.
You see that reflected in modern landmarks too, right?
Absolutely. Things like the Minar-e-Pakistan in Lahore, the stunning Faisal Mosque in Islamabad, the Pakistan Monument. They all symbolize the nation's identity, its aspirations, and connect the past to the present.
Yeah, and even the functional buildings, the President House, Parliament, the provincial assemblies, they're part of that ongoing story of Pakistan's development.
So if we try to connect all these diverse threads, what does this deep dive really mean for you, our listener? It means realizing that Pakistan today isn't monolithic. It's this incredibly complex, rich tapestry.
Yeah, as a vibrant mix of all these civilizations, cultures, languages, different eras, all woven together.
Exactly. It's a land just brimming with history, from ruins going back millennia like Mehrgarh to these amazing historic cities like Lahore, Peshawar, Quetta, Karachi.
This is where that context travel idea really clicks, doesn't it? Experiencing a place not just on the surface, but through its deep layered history.
Precisely. Just like a good expert-led tour gives you that richer, unscripted immersion, this kind of deep dive helps transform facts and dates into something more. It becomes a journey.
It's about those aha moments, isn't it? Seeing how the past echoes in the present.
Definitely. And it underscores something important. Pakistanis themselves are deeply proud of this vast inherited legacy, pre-Islamic, Islamic, post-Islamic, all of it.
And the need to preserve it.
Absolutely. The responsibility to protect and promote this unique heritage for the future. It's crucial.
So it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? In our fast-changing world with new ideas constantly coming at us, how vital is it for a nation to stay connected to its deep historical roots, to maintain its strength, its distinct identity?
It's a really interesting question. And it makes you wonder what other cultural crossroads are out there around the globe holding similar hidden layers of history, just waiting for their own deep dive.